Hello everybody, it's Thursday, so here I am, Araya, coming to you live from Basque Country in France. I'm over here doing the activations and want to keep in touch with you guys, let you know what's going on with those. Pretty exciting stuff. We've done 4 of the different points of the first 5 that complete the first geometry, which is a smaller one than the one we're moving on to next. So coming from Barcelona, where we ended up going up to Montserrat, Valencia, shared a little bit about that last week, and moved on to Sainte-Marie de la Mer, where several of these points are connected with the Black Madonna energy, the Virgin Mary, and that's revered in the Black form around southern France, around Spain, in those regions. There's quite a few around the globe, but these are particular and very interesting that energetically each one is so different. So coming here now to this last one in Sare, very interesting to be in the south of France, down in Sainte-Marie in the Camargue, beautiful region with wild horses and flamingos. What a treat to get to see that. And coming up into the Basque Country here, very interesting to arrive into a small train station and be driven out to where I'm staying, and could feel the energy right away. This was sort of the exciting thing because the energies down in the south felt very almost empty, to a point of that activation, feeling the need to really go deep into the earth to pull the dragon back up and let them know, all right, we're here, we're ready, this energy is to be released now, we're activating this and putting this pillar back in place, but it was a very slow, deep pulling up of the energies. Well, not feeling many dragons in the land necessarily around there, and coming up here, not 5 minutes from the station, all of a sudden the energy around here changes. Could feel it. It was almost like some of the experiences I've had energetically, where you almost pass into another dimensional space where you can feel the colors shift, the quality of the energy around you tangibly shifts. And I felt that there was something about the landscape that changed. And as I came further and further and got to the property where I'm staying, which is a beautiful property of one of my dragon hearts here, perfectly aligned to why she ended up in the program, and being a dragon heart herself, why she was drawn to this property to have it as a place for retreats and workshops. Very interesting that, to get to have my experiences with dragons, because I encourage you guys to share yours. You're new to it maybe, and you're having things happen in this group, and there's Muriel watching now. Hello dear. Having this group to come on and share those. 1, so you know you're not crazy. 2, so you know that, wow, I'm getting some validation here. Other people have this kind of thing happening, and to understand it a little better. So really fun for me. I don't always get to have those necessarily because it's just sort of part of my life, right? And I go to new places, and I get to meet new dragons. And so it's very fun because the home that we're staying in, there's actually a guardian dragon down in the river where you cross the bridge to get to the property. Beautiful, beautiful soul who winks at us when we come across the bridge. But the larger dragon of the property itself was waiting for me, and didn't know when or where I'd get to meet him, but felt there's a yurt out behind the main house where some of the retreat work gets done. And so I felt called to go out there this morning after I woke. Got a great sleep, got to move in, to just feeling the place energetically, and felt myself pulled to go out there. Got into the yurt and definitely had this dragon waiting for me. So felt this beautiful energetic earth dragon come up and engage me, and was trying to get me to follow him actually. So this is what's coming tomorrow. I get to go follow this dragon out to a hillside. I don't know what's over there, but up behind there's some trees and some bushes and a little ridge, and I'm being beckoned to follow him that way. There's something he wants to show me. It could be where the actual vortex point is that we need to activate. I'm not sure, but it holds excitement and wonder for tomorrow when I get to do that. So always staying open. You never know what's going to be around you, but this land, if you ever come to this region right near the Spanish border in the Basque Country, all through the Pyrenees, It's magical. There's fairies and tree spirits and beings. It's as if the veil is thinner here, where it's really a transition zone where you can feel the land so still connected in magic. And apparently there's myth and legend of Merlin connected to this place, and lots of dragons in the land actually in the Basque mythology, which I didn't know. I learned about today that there are actually dragons connected in their mythology. So it makes sense. This place is so full of natural wonder. And that wasn't the only one I got to meet today. We went for a beautiful hike, even though it was really misty and cloudy. It was actually like falling into the dragon's breath, where moving up into the mountains, it started fairly sunny. The clouds were quite high. And as we sat and had lunch, it was like the dragons started breathing, and it just became misty, and as if we were surrounded by just dragon's breath all around us while we ate lunch and then went for a nice walk through the hills. So walking along, what was amazing was the same dragon from the house had followed. I could feel him in the woods following us. He's quite large, but there were so many other dozens of young, it felt almost like a school classroom of young dragons, sort of whispering amongst themselves, like, oh, who's that? Or, oh, they can tell we're here. And, oh, shit, telling little secrets to each other. It was quite fun. So wanting you just to be encouraged to have your own experience when you go to places like that, and welcome whatever might be there, whether it's tree spirits, whether it's fairies, whether it's... they have what's called ondines here in France, which are the little water spirits, much like fairies, but they're in the water. The dragons, of course, because anytime you open to any of them, if you haven't had experiences yet, most of you have because you're here because of the dragons, but if you haven't yet had those experiences, to allow yourself to open, because even if you open to an experience with a tree spirit, that's going to start that opening within you to others, and then you might have that dragon experience that's awaiting you. So just really excited to be here, really excited. We're going to be doing the final activation of this particular part of the geometry. As I explained to you guys from Sedona, realizing that these activations, knowing about all the points that I'm responsible for around the global grids, that are the large grids associated with the dragons, that those points aren't just about going and activating that pillar of light there, but that they activate larger geometries, which are starting to show me specific patterns around the globe. And one of the things that is definitely part of it is finding the quadrangle, finding the square base and the apex that creates a full Merkaba. And what happens when we do that is that it starts unpinning from the 3D grid. So when all 4 points of the base and the apex are activated, that particular region will start unpinning itself from the 3D grid. Which means if you imagine if you visualize it much like a tarp or a covering that is put on something and then pinned into it. So if you have this sphere that is the globe, that is Earth, and you were to put a covering over it, maybe like one of those fancy Christmas ornaments that you push pins into, and you tack it down, you tack the covering into it. Well, 3D reality is much like that. It's a dense layer that has been almost push pinned around the Earth to have the experience of duality. And then as we start unpinning those, we can pull that covering off, we can pull it out and expand it out so that we can all get into this higher experience of fifth dimensional frequencies and beyond, which are starting to be available for more and more people. Hello, Nikki and Karen and Savami. I see all kinds of people joining on here. Good to see you. And Jane, I saw you pop in there. I've got your question to be answered tonight too. So that's really what we're doing here. So I'm doing the 4 points of a Merkaba and the apex, and we're completing the first one now. So this whole region should start unpinning. And what happens from that point is one of those corner points becomes the corner of a much larger quadrangle. And that's what we'll be moving to next. So I'll be moving to much larger differentiations or larger quadrangle lengths, I guess, as I move to the next activations. And I'll keep you posted on those as I keep going. But that's what I'm doing over here besides teaching a workshop next weekend, the 28th to the 30th. Can't believe it's coming up so soon, in the Lyon region. So if you're in the region, there's still space and you want to come, it's going to be in English and French. I'd love for you to join us. So just message me if you need the details on that. But otherwise, just keep opening to your experience. I'm having so many wonderful things. And what it does is, not only is it playful and joyful, I can feel this dragon just wanting me to come engage and play with him. It opens you up to all these other energies and experiences, and it does make life really magical. I gotta say, it's quite fun. So Jane, I want to go back. You had a question last week, and it was about dragon hearts, and it was, if you realize, let me just find here, if you are a dragon heart, would you remain the same color or would you change? And I wanted to address that for you because you're on live and fantastic. I'm ready to do that. When you're a dragon heart, you are at your core essence, your soul, first and foremost incarnation was as a dragon. So your main form, like my main form as dragon, is Tana, this massive water dragon. My color doesn't change. As my experience, I just become more and more of that energy, that frequency in my human form as I merge with that. But that's not to say you might have memories or other experiences and feel like you're a different color dragon, or that you have some memory of yourself in a different form. And that's very possible because as a dragon heart, as one of these very ancient beings who has been incarnate in lots of different forms, you have also been physical dragon in different planes. And I've seen myself even where I had very different coloring, different skin, I was a different shape and slightly different form. Because I went and had incarnations as physical dragon in different places. And you might have cellular memory of that. You might be in places where you start to recognize that, or go have someone say, oh, I see you as this color, when you know that your true form is actually something else. So you don't actually change, but you might have memory come in of other experiences. So I'm not sure what your exact experience was and why the question arose for you, but hopefully that makes sense. Hello, Weldy, good to see you, and Crystal, good to see you. So I think that's it for today. I'm really grateful that I'm here in this wonderful place. Muriel Mindanail, one of my dragon hearts, is my host here, and she's provided just this wonderful afternoon of enjoying this countryside, and I'm just so grateful because her presence, along with the other 10 in the Dragon Heart Circle, we have 12 that are making this happen, and they're all very dedicated and committed to their journey. They all opened incredibly into their program, and what that does is allow these specific geometries to be pulled into place. So even though I'm the human interface actually landing in each place, some of them are joining me physically in different spots. We'll actually have one of my others join us tomorrow for this activation on the solstice. We're going to be doing it on the 22nd, so you might feel a lot energetically happening. In fact, there was a post shared today that I just approved into the group about what's happening energetically, that there's a resonance scale. I think it's with Schumann resonance scale, and normally it's just under 8, and it's been at 92 recently. So there's lots of energy being felt, lots of things going on. I know that it's tied in, and let's see, I'll get to that in a question, Linda, I'll read that in a second. But knowing that there's things happening energetically, you're feeling it, there's lots of shifts, there's lots of discombobulation might be the word for it, a feeling like, wow, something's going on, something's big, there's a lot of freaky stuff. Great post that was shared about that, and yeah, there's some big things happening with this. When we are unpinning the grids, there's a major shift in frequency, and it's validating for me. I love the confirmation of the resonance frequency actually being measured scientifically when it's in alignment with the work that we've been doing. And the reports that I'm getting back from different sectors of the country, and well, actually the globe, because we're a global group, and I'm getting sector reports from different places of how much they're seeing energetic shifts in people of late. So pretty exciting to see that there is not only truth but effect happening with all the energetic work that we're doing. And the reason that these 12 beautiful souls have come together, it's a soul calling. And interestingly, feeling like when I walked into the church in Saint-Marie-de-la-Mer, I hadn't been there in this lifetime, in this body, but I walked in, I recognized the church. It's a very simple old style from 9th, 10th, the 9th through the 12th centuries is actually when it was used and built. And it was as if I recognized the place. I walked in, I felt so at home, as if I'd spent much time there. And also there's this real knowing within myself that, wow, I'm coming here again to do this work again, that we keep going into these same grids in different bodies, in different points in the time-space continuum to continuously reconnect and raise the frequency in the grids. And so it wasn't the first time that I'd been there. And it wasn't the first time that these 12 have come together. And I'm so grateful that they all heard the call in their heart. And that's what you guys feel. Those of you that are drawn to the program, the next group coming for the Eye of the Dragon program that's forming already, you feel that deep heart call because you're part of it. You're part of those geometries. You're part of that sacred calling in and that sacred service for the planet, for humanity. And I'm just so grateful and really in awe that they heard the call. They dove into it. They allowed themselves to transform so greatly during the 9-month period. And even this group is only halfway through. They finished 4 months that make up the second circle within our 12. And it is profound and powerful. And I know that the geometries would not kick into place if they didn't have the commitment to be part of every single activation. When I let them know, okay, this is where I'm going to be, this is the time, and connect your field into it. And they're all having, it's so beautiful because we share, it's in a private group share, but they're all having similar and connected experience with where I am physically, whether they've seen photos yet of the site or not. And that's what keeps me going. That's what makes me know and confirm what I'm doing here, why I'm doing it, and to just keep going. Because I'll tell you what, it's exhausting. The travel is exhausting. And you know what? Activations take less than 15 minutes, sometimes only a couple of minutes. Sometimes like it took an hour in Valencia because I had to go to 3 separate spots. But the amount of travel time and money to get to the different sites, it's enduring. We had 12 hours of travel yesterday with my 2 young boys. I have my sons with me on this trip. And started at 9 in the morning to leave South Coast France and get up here to the Southwest Coast. Well, Southwest still, but on the Atlantic. Train connections, and you know, a lot of downtime and a lot of energy and expense in every way to get where we're going for a very short actual set of work circumstance. But so honored to be doing it, and so honored to be doing it with the people that are connecting in, including you guys in the group, because this whole group that's growing here and For the Love of Dragons, you're all connected to it, and I know you feel it, and it's why you listen and tap in, and it's why you connect into the group, because it's larger than just us 12. We set the core, sort of maybe the lighthouse, if you will figure, if we had 12 creating a lighthouse, and yet that glow connects in, because where each of you guys are in the world, it's making a much larger network of light, because it arcs out to you when you connect into us with heart and know that, they're there today and they're working on that, or I can feel it, or you listen or you read the posts, your heart goes into it and it makes a much larger web of light that is pulling that all together. So I'm really grateful for you guys. So Jane, I'm so excited that you came on tonight and got your question answered live. All of you I see Shakia, I see Grace, I Christina, Anne. Let me go back and see, because I know there was a question here. Let me see if I can't address it. Let's see. Nikki, hello. Linda Burns, it was your question. Let me find it. Can we talk about hydras? I have a 3-headed, different colors, each one that has been around more, and join me and the rest of my dragons. Linda, I'll be honest, I don't know much about hydras as a specific species, but they do feel connected to the dragon lineage. It's another one of those that feels, gosh, as I tune into that, the one lineage of dragons that I know can have 2 or 3 heads always is the black dragon line, and it does feel like an offshoot of that. I talked last week about how the dragons, it's almost like a family tree that goes down this way, where the original 12 just branches off and off and off, much like if you look at, I was a linguistics major in school, so seeing how families of languages branch off from each other with an original small grouping, and they each go this way and this way and this way and find all their dialects. It's much the same when I look at the lineages of the dragons, and the hydras do feel somehow connected into the black lineage, partly because it seems, I'm getting the sensation, and I've never tuned in the into them before, I'll be honest, Linda. But as I do now, I'm feeling them connected into that shadow work. And I'm curious if that's partly what's coming up for you with them, of their presence around you right now, if they're bringing and helping you work through some shadow stuff, because it does feel like they are connected in some way to that. So I'm sorry I don't have more on that, but yeah, feel into it and tune in to see if that's definitely something they're working with you on. Let's see. Casca Jolene Graham, hi there. I went to teach Reiki in angelic Reiki in Iceland last month. When we opened up the space, we called the dragons in. They graced us with their presence for the entire workshop, and everyone ended up working with their dragons. It was extremely special. Fantastic. Yeah, you know what? They are starting to show up en masse. It's so beautiful when a space is open and that's their natural habitat. They do show up. And I don't know if you saw, I know there was a great photo posted many times into the group of the Northern Lights, posted, I believe it was over Iceland, with this dragon clearly informed in the lights showing us. And that was another experience I wanted to share today, how the dragons use. So I shared a photo recently of, it was La Curtelle in Mont Saint-Hilaire in Canada, where this dragon was coming out of the trees, and all the trees are very dark green, and all the leaves under this one tree were bright green, and it was a magnificent face. It was a very clear dragon face. And people think, well, that's just a form of the trees, it just looks like that. Or they say, oh, the rocks, it just happens to look like that. But what I know and see and come to experience is the dragons, because they're energetic, they will use the elements around you to help you see them, to connect with you and communicate with you. So it was using the tree in that way and energetically shifting the tree into a shape that made me recognize it. That's what happens when you see them in the sky. They're not always air dragons, and they're coming in and they're using the cloud formations in the mist, and like it might come up out of nowhere where there's all blue sky, and then all of a sudden this cloud forms and it looks like a dragon, because it pulls the elements together. And it can do that. It can do it in water. It can do it in rocks. And today we had this wonderful experience. I was able to show Muriel, because she can't always see. She senses and feels. She has visions at times of different things, but she knows the dragon is there, but she hasn't actually seen it herself. So with the dragon being very clear, I said, well, you know, Muriel, I'm actually not seeing him, but I'm feeling, I know he's right there and he's communicating with me. And then he used, it was so beautiful because he used the trees up behind the yurt and created a very clear visual where there were two black islets, and you could see he made himself bigger and used the trees, and then the tree behind him became his back, and she can very clearly see him. And then what was really playful and fun is he actually created all of the branches to almost stand up, because you could start seeing his horns, and he raised almost like if you had a cat whose hair all comes up on its back like this. Well, it does that when it's scared or activated in some way, right? Well, he was doing it very playfully, as if to say, can you see all my horns and tendrils here? And the tree literally like had all of its branches coming up like this. And so she was able to see it very clearly. It was very playful and fun. And so knowing that that's possible, just allow yourself, your heart, to feel it and see what you see in the land. And if you sense, maybe you don't see, but if you sense energetically a dragon around, go ahead and ask, can you please use the elements to show me more clearly? I would like to see you. And then you can actually see it with your physical eyes. So that was another fun experience we had today with that same one. So lovely, Tina, nice to see you. Adriana's there, Leandro, Tia Marie, and gosh, we've got such a great group coming on today. Wonderful to see all you guys. I feel like I've been talking way too long. Hello, Shireen, nice to see you all the way from Egypt. And yeah, if you didn't catch the whole thing, please catch on the replay. And all those of you who are watching on the replay, my heart is opening to you too. I'm grateful for you being here, whatever time you catch it, because your energy is still being added into the group. That's one thing about energy, is you can move it forward and back. And there's lots of new information coming out about that. And I know it's related to how we teleport, or how we step in and out of time and space continuum. And gosh, there's going to be more to come on that. So workshop coming up, book club coming up for those of you who are ready to do something. You got to be an English speaker for this round. I am potentially doing a French speaking round. The Canadians requested it after the great workshop we had up there. You're welcome, Jane. I hope it does make a lot of sense. Busy, is it busy over this end of the planet? Yeah, very, very busy this end of the planet. Absolutely. Hello, Diane. Just speaking right there about one of my Canadians who wants to have the book club in French. Anyway, the book club next round is starting. It's going to be Wednesdays this time from 11:30 to 1:30 Pacific Standard, so that we can catch the Europeans and the Australians if they want to take part, because quite often we have a very global group. There's only 10 spots. So if you want one of those, let me know. It's going to be Wednesdays, July 24th to, I believe it's August 28th. 6 weeks bound to transform your life. And a really great way to get into some inner program work with me. It's a great stepping stone or an introduction into the deeper programs. So you are so welcome, Casca. Glad to see you here. A new face in the group. Lovely to know you're here. You can feel your dragon around you. Yeah, well, we can always do a dragon reading there. I do those. And anybody that wants to connect through a session or a discovery call, I'm not going to be doing any until early July, but about 3 weeks out, you can start booking those through invokehealing.com. Any of the pages have a book now button, which takes you to the calendar, and that will show you all the different sessions that I do, and we can always talk on a discovery call about it. So have a great weekend. Watch for the energy shifts around midday, which would be wee hours of the morning there on the west coast of the States. But on Saturday, roughly midday, I think. I'm going to have to look at my calendar now. I'm not even sure. We might be doing it that evening, actually. Sometime on Saturday, the 22nd, you're going to feel some energies pull, and a very big energetic as this quadrangle completes. So thanks for being there, you guys. I look forward to seeing you next week, ideally, if I can connect in. It's worked 2 weeks in a row on my travels, so I'm really pleased about that. I love you guys, and I love seeing you every week, so we'll see you soon. Over and out from France. Bye, guys.